Hi tappers. Let's talk about how to identify what to tap on when you are triggered. Sometimes it might be obvious to you what touched that space for you, and that's great. But let's talk about those moments where you find yourself angry or sad or overwhelmed or feeling like something is doomed, when not long before you felt fine, even great, and you are completely clueless about how you got there. I have several suggestions for you, and not all of them may work for you. That's okay. All we're looking for is one way to fit or to inspire something for you that will work. First, you have found yourself in this space. So let's accept the space of this big feeling. Let's go with feeling sad as an example. Release any temptation to chastise yourself for getting sad. That's not useful, and it will dig you in more deeply. If you want, you can even tap about it for a few sentences real quick. So, even though I find myself extremely sad right now, I deeply and completely accept myself. Feeling sad, suddenly sad, I don't know why, and even though I don't know why yet, I still choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself. Now, we don't necessarily need to get more specific there. You can try first tapping it out viscerally, meaning focusing in on the feeling in your body, also known as chasing the pain. This could be enough to eliminate this, and you don't need to try to figure anything else out. But let's say you tried that, and it helps in the moment, but you do seem to continue to have this happen. So it would seem that there's a deeper root on fire that the visceral tapping isn't quite reaching. One of the first questions I like to ask myself is this feeling rational or logical? It is helpful for me because sometimes I forget that my feelings are the result of something I've recently experienced. Why am I so sad? Oh, my long-term relationship ended. I had a disagreement with my best friend. I feel like I'm in a rut at work, and I exhausted myself making that meal yesterday, and not a single person said thank you to me for it. None of this has happened to me. These are examples. But those are all logical and rational reasons to be feeling sad. And if you are going through life and you forget about something momentarily, that doesn't mean that your body and your emotions do. They may be asking you to slow down and take some time to let them bubble to the surface and deal with them a bit. But let's say you can't come up with any logical or rational reason as to why you're feeling this way. You're sad, but everything in your life is glorious. It doesn't make any sense. No worries. You have just clarified that it's a subby issue. Remember, the subby doesn't work in logic, but it does communicate in feelings. Now we just need to unlock what it is saying. It can be helpful to ask yourself next if you are experiencing an emotion or a sensation. Now, we already know we're sad, but we're asking this anyway. Why? Because sometimes there are multiple layers, and the sadness isn't the deepest that we could easily access if we only asked. Let's say we ask and we discover a feeling of hopelessness and a sensation of burning in the chest and the back of the neck. Oh, wait, this feels like embarrassment. No, shame. Okay, now we're really starting to rack up a list of emotions, but we're still clueless about what to do with them. Now you can tap on the visceral experience again, or about the emotions themselves, but let's go one step different. And this next step could be the first one that you choose. There's no necessary order of any of these. So you ask yourself, what am I thinking about? What thoughts are coursing through my brain? You may be at work preparing to go to a meeting in 10 minutes, but you were actually recalling your memory of how you failed to learn to ride a bike before your much younger brother, and that humiliated you. Aha, there it is. And maybe this popped up because this meeting is important and it's a big presentation for you and you doubt yourself. So your subby brings this up to warn you about how close you are to possibly having this shameful experience again. It's not so safe, so back off. It makes total sense. Or there's no meeting, but you recall this morning a coworker shared with you in passing that over the weekend they taught their son to ride a bike. And so you thought about when you learned to ride a bike, and that's how it got brought up. Triggers are usually seen as more of an attack than an opportunity, but the basic truth of a trigger is it's alive because something in there is hurting. If someone calls you a name and you don't have a trigger for it, you may be shocked by their behavior, but it won't necessarily hurt you. But if you have a deeper root that insult lights up, it will deeply affect you. And that can feel like a weakness in that moment, but it isn't. It's something in you saying, this is already familiar and I still don't like it. It's entirely unpleasant to experience, but it is still a positive signal for you to have because now you have a strong, straight line back to the root of something that likely has a big limiting factor in place for you, and now you can eliminate it. So if you are caught up in a trigger and you're unsure of how to move forward, now you have a few options to give you those first few steps forward. Do you have a different approach that works for you? Please share it in the comments so everyone can have that one too. And I will see you soon.